So, hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of LUWES STEM Club. If you haven't watched last week's video, please go check it out. As I hope you guys have actually enjoyed that and will enjoy today's session as well. So, without further ado, I shall quickly introduce myself. I'm Natalie, and I'm the chairperson of LUWES, as well as a product design engineering student at Loughborough University. And we have Rachel here with us today.
Hi guys, I'm Rachel. I'm a chemical engineering student in Loughborough University as well. So today guys, we're going to be doing the Amplifier challenge. Natalie's going to tell you a bit about the purpose behind that.
Sure. So basically the Amplifying challenge is really to let you guys explore a bit about how sound works, how what it means and how it works with different materials. And hopefully you guys will have a bit of fun and actually maybe design and decorate your own speakers. But without further ado, I'll pass back to Rachel, explaining a bit about the resources that you'll need for today's session.
So what you guys will need is a toilet paper roll or a kitchen roll. You'll need 2 cups, preferably paper, but also plastic, and a ruler and some scissors, and you'll need your phone to measure where the hole is going to be in the toilet roll.
So right, thank you, Rachel. So let's get started. So just a reminder, we do have a worksheet. So go to the description below and check it out, because there's different resources on there that will hopefully help you after this session today, and it specifies as well all the different things you'll need for today's session. So Rachel, do you want to go on and start the activity?
Yeah, okay. So first step, guys, is all about drawing it out and marking where you're going to cut. So take your toilet roll and your phone, and you're going to mark the edges of the phone on the toilet roll so you know exactly where to cut so it fits in snug. So I'll just do that now. And while we're doing that, maybe you could tell us a bit about your course and what sort of things you do in it.
Yeah, sure. So I study product design engineering, and to many people, you might not know what it is, because it is product design and engineering. And maybe I can speak about what two different things are. So product design is more about maybe designing a product where you're able to apply to kind of more of a consumer need side, and by applying engineering, so you might have more of the mathematical side and techie side, as well as the manufacturing and how you make it. And I guess in terms of my course, why I really like the course is because the course really lets you to go with the different range of the spectrum for what you can learn, from just the pure designing to the maths, to maybe the physics and how you apply that with the maths, so more of the engineering side, and then into the manufacturing, and then as well as the business as well. So you really get the full scope of maybe if you're wanting to start a business yourself, or even if you're working at a company, to really see that process, which I really like about this course. So yeah, no. Have you managed to draw your bits out, Rachel?
Yeah, so my phone is a bit large, so my hole is this shape.
Yep.
So I've got paper cups and Natalie's got plastic. So the next step would be to, I guess you'd hold it. So the shape we're going for would look something, would look something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to hold the toilet paper up to the cup, and we're going to again trace around it to mark where we would cut the cup.
Awesome. So I guess you asked me a question just now about my course. So Rachel, why did you study chemical engineering?
Well, mine's similar to yours in the aspect that there's a lot of manufacturing involved. So chemical engineering, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to expect when I started doing it. The main reason why I did it in the first place is because I loved chemistry and maths in school. So I really wanted to study chemistry, but I wanted more of the math side, and I wanted something that I could use in industry. So yeah, chemical engineering is all about processes and how chemicals are made, not just chemicals, but things like toothpaste. They require chemical engineers. Fast consumer goods, they all require engineers. Like a lot of your household products require chemical engineers. So it's all about making any fluids or fluids essentially. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, thank you for sharing that. Just a tip for you guys all that are actually tracing the circular shape to make it easier to actually cut out in the next steps. Make sure to draw it like a little pizza. So have like little triangle pizza shape. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but something like that. It'll make it definitely easy for you guys to cut out.
Yep, I've drawn my pizza.
Awesome. So symmetrical. Mine's just random. I guess the next step would be just cut all of the trace bits out, right?
Yeah.
So you will be using scissors.
Oh yeah, you said it's better to do too little than too much, guys, because if it's too big, then you just have to start all over again.
And if you guys are using a cutter or anything, do be careful, as they are sharp items. So just take care of yourself when you're doing it.
And I suggest you like squeeze it a little bit so you can get it into color easier.
So I mean, you mentioned that you loved chemistry and maths, Rachel. So what do you actually study in A levels?
So I did chemistry, biology, and maths because I just find sciences and maths a lot more interesting and fun for me. So if that's something you're interested in, if maths is a love of yours, then engineering is a good route for you. But growing up, I always thought you had to do physics and maths to be an engineer, but I didn't even need physics. So yeah. What did you study at A-level?
So I did I did maths, physics, chemistry, and Spanish for a year. So it was quite a range because it was quite a range. But I definitely enjoyed both. I think the balance between the sciences and obviously the language as well. But I think towards the end of my first year, like I decided I really wanted to pursue more of a technical background, engineering side sort of myself. So I went towards and just did at the end maths, physics, and chemistry. But like Rachel said, I really like the maths and how it kind of interlinks all of the different subjects quite interestingly. Like it just kind of groups them all together. Because I don't know if you guys know that the saying that, sometimes biology is part of chemistry, chemistry is part of physics, and physics is essentially maths. And so somehow they're all just interlinked, which is quite.
And you don't even need just chemistry and physics or maths, because biology, there's biochemical engineering. I actually did a module on that. And it didn't require any maths for that particular module. It was more about biology and applications in industry and making things. So
Oh, that's cool. No, I actually for design engineering, you don't have to do physics, bro. You can be doing design and technology. Unfortunately, when I was at school, there wasn't enough people doing it. for A levels, so I didn't have the opportunity to do design and technology, which I loved. But there's always different routes for you to be achieving the same thing. So if you're passionate about a certain subject that you want to be doing in the future, there's plenty of different ways that you can achieve the same thing. So in terms of like obviously choosing, you mentioned a lot of why you liked chemical engineering, etc. So do you think that it was influenced by anyone in particular, or was it something that you've always wanted to do in the future?
Well, when I was picking what subject to study at university, I was a bit unsure because all I knew was that I enjoyed chemistry at the time, but I wasn't really sure what to do with that. And a lot of my friends were studying engineering, and a few of them were actually doing chemical engineering because of the roles available at the time. There's quite a lot of things you can do with that degree. So I asked them a bit about what sort of thing they do. And at first I thought that maybe it would be too hard for me, and that's why I was a bit not sure about whether I should do it. But after learning about what sort of things that they were learning about, I thought that it would actually be really interesting. And that's the key thing about choosing a course, or even choosing what type of engineering to go into. You have to really find it interesting, or really like enjoy the things that you'll be learning, because that's really what inspired me and made me want to be a chemical engineer.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. I mean,
what about you?
I mean, like, no, you're very lucky, you know, to have people to have told you in terms of that were in the actual industry. Because like at school, like I think how I actually came across product design engineering was quite a weird encounter. So there was this magazine that we had at school, and that had someone making an incubator, and I thought that's really cool. So I went out to, you know, in the library, Googled out what's this all about, and came across product design, just pure product design. So at that point I was thinking, oh, I'm just doing product design then. So I went and spoke to one of the careers advisors, and they were like, you might as well do product design engineering. Like, you know, you've got, you know, the maths and etc. in your A levels. So why not give it a go? And it's very near to, very similar to product design, but just a bit more technical perspective, and you might even learn more in terms of the scope of a design process, etc. And he wasn't wrong. And I've been enjoying it so far. Like, it's been really good. I'm in my final year, and I definitely think I didn't choose the wrong course at all. But yeah, no, I've cut out my bits. Have you managed to do yours, or are you getting there?
I think I've been a bit slow. I keep on.
No worries. No, that's cool.
Okay.
Perfect. So mine fits in as well, which is perfect. Mine's slightly off in the middle, so it's okay. It's still cool. Yeah, so next step, just try to push your toilet rolls into the cups, the hole that you've cut. So I guess next question, Rachel, what has been your like favorite project you've done so far? At school or even at university, you know, tell me all about it.
So, a lot of the things we do is research, but one of the things I most enjoy is doing experiments in labs. When I came to Loughborough University and I saw the laboratory buildings, it was a whole side, like a whole building just dedicated to our department and experiments. And there's so many that you can do. And yeah, I was really like surprised at how much was available for us. And that's been my favorite part, doing experiments, because when you see when you learn about something in class and then you see it in person and you really understand the mechanisms of how it works, it just really brings the knowledge together and makes it easier to understand and apply like into your work and other projects even. So yeah, that's been my favorite part, is doing lab experiments. And then after the lab experiments, we do reports and we present our findings, we analyze the data and present our findings back to the lecturer, or sometimes we even hold presentations. And at first I was a bit nervous about this, but I even found doing the lab reports interesting because you have to research more about the experiment you've done. And again, it just brings your understanding of it together. So yeah, that's been my favorite part. What about you, Maddie?
So being more of a designing sort of degree, so we have a lot of group projects, and one of the most memorable projects was a year-long one that we had in the same group of people. And you really saw that progress that I mentioned about the beginning, the middle, and end, because we started with a brief that we kind of dissected and scraped out to really find a problem, and then into the ideation stage, the development stage, and then at the end we actually did a report and also an actual like a business pitch, so a presentation to the company that sponsored the project, which was really good. I think the progression from the beginning to middle and end, you see it, you're looking back, it was hard work when you're in it, but when you look back at the achievement you guys, your group and you were able to come at different points, it was massive. And you learn a lot, not only through how you're applying what you know, but also how to work with different people with different knowledge and background, which I think is very important when you go out and work in your future careers. So yeah.
I would say that's one thing as well that I've noticed. Like at the beginning, when you're just doing a project, you think you're just learning about whatever you're learning about. But after you've done it, you realize the skills that you've actually gained from doing the project. Like your one, it was a year long, and your team working skills are probably like a lot. They develop so much from that, and you can even apply that when you're applying to job roles, because they all look for these transferable skills that you learn on your course.
No, for sure. It definitely benefited because last year I was at a placement, and your ability to build connections with people from even across a whole business is amazing. Because when you're at a company, you don't only work for the team, but you work with people from marketing, etc. And having that interpersonal kind of transferable skill that you develop in an engineering degree is definitely very important. Awesome. So guys, you should have made, if you after content it too, you should have made your amplifier, basically your home speaker. And if you've got any sellotape or blue tack, seal those gaps up so you won't actually lose the sound and everything. So what you're doing.
Yeah. Once it's done, guys, you can even decorate it. I've chosen cups with a bit of sparkle to them to make it pretty, or you could colour yours in or draw on it.
Yeah, colour maybe like the whole toilet roll bit and make it cool. Make it as creative as you want. And one good thing about this as well, you can probably make one for every room in your house. Just have one there and there. Your whole family can, have it as well. So any tips and advice, Rachel, for the keen students out there watching this video to get into STEM?
Yeah, I would say the first, the most important step is knowing what kind of engineering you want to do. And if you even research how many different types of engineering there are, you'll be overwhelmed with the amount of things you can do. You can do chemical, material, nuclear, petroleum. There's just so many. So it's for me, when I was in school, I always thought that engineering would just be oh, if you want to do mechanical, that's all there is really available. That's what engineering is, just mechanical engineering. And for me, I was put off by physics, so it almost made me not want to do engineering because I thought, oh, that's all there is to do. So yeah, finding out about what's available is the most important and first step, because you never know what you're going to like the most and what you're going to enjoy the most. So yeah, I would say that's the key step. And also you know, when you're looking for that, there's lots of insight programs out there available for young students like yourselves. So have a research into that, you know.
No, I definitely encourage you guys to. And if you look up something that you really like, a project, maybe a competition or something like that, that you're probably really interested, get your classmate involved, get them involved, you know, like there's no harm to invite more people in and put together a team and go for something that's exciting. I think that will hopefully add on to what you're learning at school.
It's interesting you actually said about you know, competitions and stuff, because when I was in high school, I did this thing called the Arkwright Scholarship, and I was just like, it was so much fun. Like, I didn't think I would enjoy it, but I enjoyed it so much, and it wasn't even related to chemical engineering. I think it was just engineering in general, and I thought that I wouldn't really understand because I didn't have a lot of knowledge in engineering, but a lot of it was common sense designs in a way, and yeah, it was so much fun, and it really made me want to be an engineer. So yeah, get involved with stuff like that, because you never know how much you're going to enjoy it until you give it a go.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another tip is that probably just don't be afraid to ask for like more opportunities, or ask your teachers saying, you know, I'm interested in this, but I don't know, you know, what it is. You know, I think building, you know, using the people around you as resources as important as well. You know, if you have friends, like Rachel mentioned, she spoke to some of her friends that did chemical engineering, and she knew it was engineering at that point, so which is brilliant. So if you have friends or people around you, that uncles, aunties, I don't know, speak to them. I think they'll be more than happy to share with you what they've been doing, and yeah, spark your interest and be resourceful and just go for it.
So guys, once you've made it, turn on your music and try it without, and then put it in and try it with, and see the difference in how loud it is. And why don't you do some research even as to why that is? Like, why is it louder with the cups than it would be by itself? And comment your answers below. Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know. We're intrigued to see what you guys look up and research about. Because this project is a very basic activity, but there's so much to it, because sound, essentially, they are just vibrations that vibrate through a material. And you'll probably know that you know, sound do vibrate much louder actually in water, much faster in water than in air. So when you're actually under in the water, you'll probably hear things louder and faster rather than in air, just because of how the different ways that particles work, how it vibrates through the particles. And another probably extension thing you can do is probably try the actual speakers and etc. In different materials. You know, I got plastic. Rachel had paper cups. You know, if you had some metal cans, try that out too. See the difference.
So guys, this is our final products. Why don't you even take a picture of yours and tag us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Send us an email even if you want. So yeah, and stay tuned for next week's video.
Stay tuned, and if you guys have any questions, like Rachel said, email us or comment below. And we'll be keen as well to hear more about your research and things that you find out from sound. And yeah, no, thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed that, and thank you, Rachel, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.